Everyone. It's Rashida McFerren. Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. And today we're doing a bonus episode. We just hit August. I often call August Abundant August. And so yesterday was 8/1/24. Today is 8/2/24. And I just wanted to pop on and talk about all the major energy we have going on right now with the Lionsgate portal coming up on 8/8, and it's supposed to be a triple portal for 8/8/8 since it's an 8 year. And I just wanted to talk about some basic steps to manifesting. I realized that my podcast is called the Manifesting Millions podcast, but before I got to the point that I was manifesting millions, honey, I had to manifest $100, $500, $1,000, 10K, 20K, etc. You get my point. But we all have to start somewhere, and so I just want to go through a quick 6-step process that I basically follow when I'm manifesting. And it's not necessarily, I guess, a formal process in a sense because I don't even do the steps anymore. It's so ingrained into my identity and who I am as far as being a master manifester that it's just a part of my identity. But for those of you who are starting in the journey, I figured it was a good idea to take a step back and to talk about, how do you get to that point? How do you get to the point that you're a master manifester? I talk about my career a lot because, like I said, I've spent the last 18 years working with money, OPM, other people's money, banks' money, Federal Reserve money. So there are a few things that always tend to stand out to me when I'm dealing with money. And so having a foundational root of an abundant attitude is usually the beginning process, even if you ain't got nothing, right? Even if you're starting from ground zero and you're building your legacy and your wealth in the now, you have to start somewhere. So I want to go through the 6 steps, and then I'm sure I'm going to add some stories here and there. So for the first step, we have intention. And so what do I mean when I say intention? Intention is your exact desire to put energy into something that you want to have an outcome with, basically. And so we all make conscious choices of the things that we want and we don't want. And a lot of times you'll notice that we tend to put our energy on the things that we don't want. And that is usually what ends up manifesting in our lives. Like, right? You'll sit up here and think about this, like, I don't want this, I don't want, I don't want, and I don't want. And then you look up a day or two later and exactly what you didn't want to happen is what's happening. And so you have to learn to direct your thoughts to a desired outcome that you want, opposed to what you don't want. And a lot of times for me, the way I manifest things is like I have to see myself in it. And so this is, I guess, I'm pretty sure that's a step somewhere down the process in these 6 steps. I have to see myself in something in order for me to be able to bring that thing or experience into my reality. And I've been doing this since I was a little girl. I can remember, I'm an 80s baby, right? And so I remember when I wanted Blossom from the Strawberry Shortcake cartoon. It was the little African American doll that was in the group, and I wanted that doll so bad. I think my mom and my dad, they were still married at the time, just noticed that I was like absolutely crazy about strawberry shortcake. And it's so funny because still to this day, my favorite fruit is a strawberry. Okay. It's so funny. And the other part of that is like, my dad used to plant strawberries in this garden behind our house, and we used to go outside and pick them when I was really, really small. I had to be all of 2 or 3 back then. That's one of the good memories that I do have from spending time with my father before he and my mother went their separate ways. But I wanted that doll so bad. And what happened? They noticed how much I loved it and I loved the cartoon. And eventually, guess what I got? My first doll was a Blossom strawberry shortcake doll. And it's so funny because I think about it now because I still love the color of yellow and the vibrancy and how it represents the sun. And I always like to be a light wherever I go. And so I think about that, and it can be anything as simple as setting your intentions for wanting a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, wanting someone to give you $5 without you having to ask. Like anything that you desire and want in this lifetime is open and willingly available to you if you set the right intention and put actionable steps behind getting to the intention. So, step number one is intention. Step number two in achieving your goal is having a commitment to achieving that goal. So, once I get my mind focused on something, I lock in, and that is what I'm focused on. So, for me right now, it's a six-figure launch. We are launching my program, Pennies to Profits, and it teaches Millennials and Gen Z investors how to build a profitable portfolio to six or seven figures by laying a solid foundation and having knowledge as far as the financial markets are concerned. And I try to make the course as easy as I can with a topic that I know is complicated, right? And so for me right now, my goal is to get my six-figure launch. And I have done everything that I absolutely can to be committed to that goal, and I will see that through, get to my end result. And that is my commitment. And you know, what's after the six-figure launch is the seven-figure launch. What's after the seven-figure launch, we're just going to keep building and going because, again, my goal is to build a profitable business that's contributing to society in a productive manner. Step three is about affirmations. Affirmations for me are always a sticky subject. The way I do affirmations is through my journaling. I write a lot. I've been journaling and writing, and I've had a diary since I was a little girl. I don't go and do journaling because someone is telling me to do it. It is literally a part of my daily practice, sometimes multiple times a day, as much as I need it in order for me to affirm where it is that I'm going. And I'm not necessarily writing, well, I want to be rich and I want to be wealthy. Now, those affirmations are absolutely essential, right? You have to think and tell yourself positive things in order for you to get into the mindset of wanting to have that goal accomplished. But for me, a lot of times I'm writing outcomes of what I'm expecting to see happen. Those are my affirmations. And with social media, a lot of times you will see my social media catered towards introducing my message into the world, which is that of 100% financial literacy and freedom. I am a money wellness coach. In other words, I teach you how to make your money well. And that goes with being wealthy. Aha, I just made that connection. And so having affirmations in place that you repeat to yourself to put yourself in a positive state. I call it PMA. Napoleon Hill calls it PMA. That's where you have to start. And if it starts with you, I want to be a millionaire. I desire to have this much money in the bank. If it starts with you writing down that or putting a message or a note in your phone telling you that, and setting a reminder and a timer to it so that you can repeat that to yourself on a daily basis, then you can start with the most basic form of affirmations. But I believe affirmations are actions that we do that reaffirm our desires and our intentions and the commitment we have to the tangible thing that we're trying to bring into our reality. And so you have to be mindful of what you hear, what you listen to when you're listening to the radio or podcasting or being around people, because all of that is energy and you're taking that into your space and you have to be conscious of what's going on in your energetic frequencies around. Like I said, I do my journaling for affirmations, but in regards to just like listening to affirmations, I have gotten to the point that I just listen to frequencies a lot of the time. So I'll find some YouTube frequencies that are set to like positive affirmations. And if they're on the right energetic frequency, I'll listen to that and I'll let that repeat in my environment over and over again. Because a lot of times I don't like to listen to the words because people 9 times out of 10 don't be talking about nothing, child, when you listen to music. And so a lot of the music that comes into play now in modern times is just very, it's kind of mind numbing in a sense. And so I listen to a lot of frequencies. I play my frequencies consistently when I go to bed at night. It plays while we're asleep. And when I get up in the morning, it's still playing and it'll play until I switch it over to CNBC or Yahoo Finance or Schwab TV to watch the financial markets or what the financial markets are doing at the beginning of the day. So, step three, affirmation. Step four is I struggle with this affirmation. Excuse me, I struggle with step four because I think I hear people say it so much. And I think I have my own way of offering up gratitude. And so, step four is being grateful. And so, some may ask, well, Rashida, how do I be grateful for something that hasn't happened yet? Well, maybe you're not necessarily being grateful for something that hasn't happened, but you can thank in advance for what you intend to come. But you can start by being grateful for the little things throughout your day that puts a smile on your face. The moment that makes you smile with your child, when you're talking to somebody and you have a synchronicity in the conversation that you're having and it gives you a little hope of inspiration. You can be grateful for little bitty things that happen like that throughout your day that's not necessarily like this big grandiose event for you to express gratitude for. And I also oftentimes consider gratitude a form of giving as well. And let me explain what I mean when I'm saying that I offer gratitude as a form of giving. So, when I am giving something to people, I'm a very big giver. If you are in my social circle or my family, you know that I am a huge giver. I picked it up from my grandmother, who was like that, very much so. Oftentimes, I am taking in the fact that I am giving from a place of fullness and abundance. And I'm grateful for the fact that I'm able to give from that place. I can there's so and giving for me is literally it's a part of my DNA. Like it's literally a part of what I do. And so even with like I'll give you an example for the little shops that you could sell your clothes on now, the Etsy's and Shopify and things like that. So for years, like with my son, when you have a child, you're constantly buying clothes and then they're growing out of it. So you're recycling the clothes through. And so for years, we've always given to like Goodwill and whatever organizations could need it at the time. And it's just as of late, since my son is in his later years of teen, because he's an athlete, I've just now started to think about reselling a lot of the stuff that we buy that he uses for such a short time that I spend a decent amount of money on because like most of the products are almost still new by the time he's grown out within a few months. And so, but other than that, before then, I've given away so much stuff, including, and it's so funny, it's like including money. I remember when we first moved to Texas, I had some furniture that I had in storage, and I think it was in storage for like a year. And we moved to Texas. I finally got it out of storage. And then I got it into our apartment, and my son was maybe 5 at the time. And I looked around and I was just like, you know what? I think it's time to get rid of this furniture. And this was my first apartment, grown up apartment before I got pregnant with my son that I had. I was living in Tennessee at the time, and I had taken so much time to pick meticulously everything that went into that apartment because I wanted to represent a young 20 something millennial who was a professional doing the dang thing. And like I said, I was in Memphis. I bought my furniture from Atlanta. I went all the way to Atlanta to find some furniture because I couldn't find what I was looking for. And I went to Atlanta, bought the furniture, and then had them deliver it to Memphis. And so when we get to Texas, like 6 or 7 years later, I'm looking around and I'm like, it's time for us to innovate. And I call, I think it was the Goodwill store, and they came and picked up my furniture set, which was still basically almost brand new. I paid a ton of money for it. And I was like, you know what? I just want it gone. I think somebody else will be able to use it better than what we can now because we're in a different phase of life. And it turns out that when the Goodwill came to get that furniture, a young woman who was starting her life over with her daughter who was fleeing a domestic violence situation. She had an apartment and needed some furniture. She found a phone in the couch, which was from my son's like first and second year, that had pictures in it. And she was able to go back to the Goodwill, get my information, and connect with me in order to give me the phone, because those are memories literally that you can never get back, because that was his first and second year of life. And I remember telling her, she was like, I don't know where you came from and how I found you on my path, but I'm so grateful for you. And I told her, I was like, I hope the furniture blesses you the way it blessed us. I said, honestly, it's pretty much really new. When I bought it maybe a year later, I moved to the Carolinas because I was pregnant with my son, and I went to pursue, my career. And at the time it was a relationship that didn't work out. But I told her, I said, hopefully it makes you as happy as it made us for the time that we did use it. And then I told her, I want to seriously thank you for giving me this phone back, because I would have never found this phone. And I had memories on that phone from when me and my son were like in our first 2 years of life together. And that was like, that's irreplaceable, because I had become a single parent. And a lot of those memories were core memories that, you're never going to be able to get back if you didn't like back up. And back then, honey, I had the unfortunate, consistent habit of recording and putting stuff on and not backing it up to like a hard drive. So, being grateful is, I think it's up to you. I think you decide how you want to offer up gratitude to the world for the things that you're thankful for. And then I think that you figure out how to give from that place, even if it's not in a monetary value. That was step 4. The fifth step is is the hardest step for me. It's letting go. I'm a control freak. That's the hardest part for me. It's like in our physical 3D finite form, we like to see what we can touch, feel, and control physically, right? And when we do everything that we're supposed to do from our perspective, a lot of times, once you get through that point, the next step of the phase is giving it up to the universe and allowing the universe, God, whatever you call your source of being, to do its job. And a lot of times for me, that's always the hardest part. Even though I know and I trust and I have faith, like, I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older. But letting go and allowing the universe to do its thing is still for me one of the most challenging parts. And I think it's just because we're human, like we're human. And so, but you can't hold on to it, because if you hold on tightly to what it's supposed to be, and then it shows up completely opposite of it, like, you'll be almost setting yourself up for disappointment, right? And so you have to have an intention, be committed to it, put actionable steps behind it, and then be grateful for it, and then let it go so it can show up however it's supposed to show up in your world, the way it's destined to show up. And that's all I have to say about that one. Yeah, that's it. That's the hardest part. The last steps are the hardest part for me. It's like, and then step 6 is usually relax, which is kind of part of like letting it go. You have to relax into the flow of letting go. That is ooh, I like that. I like that, honey. Yeah, you have to relax into the flow of letting go so that you can allow the infinite being of the universe, or beings of the universe, to do what they need to do. Because at that point, you've done everything that was required for you to do on your part, right? And so once we get to the point that we let go, we have to let it go and let flow. Learning to be in flow. So the hardest things for me in life is letting go of control, being patient. I am so impatient. And then trusting into the flow of the infinite being, knowing that they got my back, right? Like knowing that the universe has your back, meaning when I say they, your guides, your angels, your ancestors, God, whatever you feel to be supreme being to you, knowing that the universe has your back. And that's always the biggest struggle for me. It's so funny if I think back to my son is in his teens, but I remember being pregnant with my son. The hardest part of those 9 months was sitting there and waiting and growing him and letting him do his own thing. And it's the hardest thing for a woman to do that is a type A personality that's controlling because, like, you're literally housing an infinite being in your body and you're growing it from nothing. So, ladies, women, let me say this. If you know nothing else and you are a mother, think about the power from within your body of what it takes to grow nothing into something and then to be the vehicle through to this 3D world, hence the delivery for them to come through and then to nurture from birth all the way up until your assignment is complete with you and your children. If that is not the ultimate form of manifestation, I don't know what is. Like, we are so powerful. And I'm talking to women again. We are so powerful within our own right, just by the mere fact that we are born girls, women. And so when you have some bad days and you're feeling like ain't nothing going right, you know what? Remind yourself that you've created life and allowed yourself to be a vehicle from the infinite being that creates us to bring other infinite beings into this world. Girl, you got power. Okay. And a lot of times, like, I don't know what it is about our society, our modern day society is like women are always fighting for the right to be heard. We're always fighting for the right to be acknowledged. And a lot of what I feel like of being a woman is believing in your own power and your worth. That has been a signature in my life. And a lot of times I get the question, well, how do you do what it is that you do? And a lot of times my answer is simply, I just believe and I do, based on the knowledge and the knowing that I have internally within myself as a woman that I am a powerful, very powerful being, period. So that is 6 steps to manifestation in a roundabout way. I wanted to come on and to add some clarity to you creating and manifesting goals in the month of August. This is Abundant August. Whatever goals that you have set for this month, I want you to put those goals up on your mirror or your wall. Mine's are on my mirror, on my wall, my phone, in my journal, in the book next to my journal. Mine's are everywhere. They're when I open my phone, when I open my laptop, when I pop on social media, when I'm looking back through old blogs, my intentions about what I'm creating in this world is literally everywhere to be a constant reminder of who I am to be in this world. So, I hope this episode helped you in some type of way, inspired you, gave you some type of value. If you want to know more about us, you can always check us out at Rashida.ai on socials. I'm on socials, IG and TikTok and Facebook are my social platforms, and LinkedIn. I don't ever, for some reason, consider LinkedIn like a social platform because it's just, when I think LinkedIn, I think business, right? Because it's always been so corporate for me. And where have I been? In finance, in corporate for the past 18 years. But you can check us out on any of those channels. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed what you heard, please offer a review in Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. They help my show grow and help me be able to continue to bring value to you on a weekly basis. That is all for now, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.